It is this almost universal experience. You spend 4 years in college, you read the textbooks, pass the midterms,
Right.
and then you finally get that piece of paper handed to you.
Yeah, and then you step out into the profession and bam.
Exactly. You just get hit with this massive wave of imposter syndrome.
Oh, absolutely. Suddenly all that scaffolded support, the office hours, the partial credit, it's just gone.
Yeah, it vanishes overnight.
Well, in the academic environment, you're graded on a holistic effort. Like if you misunderstand a concept on a Tuesday, you have until the midterm to figure it out.
Right. You have time.
But professional credentialing standards, they make absolutely zero accommodations for your educational context.
And nowhere is that shock to the system more brutal than in accounting. I mean, the traditional leap from a college degree to the CPA exam, it's basically like graduating from a driving simulator directly into a Formula One race.
That is a great way to put it. It's a harsh, unforgiving transition.
It really is. So that brings us to the mission of today's deep dive. We are looking at this brilliant conceptual blueprint that proposes a fix to this exact problem.
Right, building a staircase instead of a cliff.
Yes. It's a proposal written by Dr. Carlton Johnson. This is from August 2026 for faculty discussion at Morehouse College. And the core idea is to use an existing credential, the Accredited Business Accountant, or ABA, as a sort of intermediate diagnostic stepping stone.
Right, so to understand how this staircase works, we have to look at the chronological progression he's advocating for.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Currently, you finish college, try to study for the CPA, and just hope your foundation is strong enough.
Yeah, which is terrifying.
Exactly. So the proposed pathway injects crucial steps in the middle. It starts with academic preparation, sure, but then during their junior or senior year, students take the ABA examination.
Okay.
Following that, they complete qualifying professional experience to officially earn the ABA credential.
Got it.
And only then do they move into targeted CPA preparation, the actual CPA examination, and finally licensure.
Okay, so let's unpack this because, honestly, my first reaction to this is just highly skeptical.
I get that.
If the CPA is the ultimate goal, the absolute gold standard of accounting, isn't adding another massive board exam in the middle of their junior year just burning students out early?
It sounds counterintuitive on paper, I know.
We are talking about solving test anxiety by just adding another test. Why not just channel all that energy into studying harder for the CPA?
Well, the fundamental mechanism of the ABA here is completely different. The proposal relies on the fact that the ABA is explicitly not a substitute for CPA preparation.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't replace anything.
Right. It doesn't reduce the scope of what you eventually need to know. Instead, it functions strictly as an early external diagnostic tool.
A diagnostic tool. So like getting a comprehensive blood panel done before you commit to a massive marathon training regimen.
That is the perfect way to look at it. You need to know if you have an iron deficiency before you start running 20 miles a day.
Right.
Performance on the ABA provides actual insights. It identifies specific accounting strengths and, more importantly, critical knowledge gaps.
Before they start the grueling prep.
Exactly. Before they waste months of time and hundreds of dollars failing a specific section of the CPA exam, it tells them exactly where they need remedial content.
So it clears away the fog. Because half the terror of a massive exam is just not knowing what you don't know.
Yeah, and it completely changes the psychological landscape for the student, too.
How so?
Earning the ABA gives them an attainable professional milestone before graduation. Instead of waiting years to feel like a real professional, they get early external validation.
Oh, I see. Completely independent of their GPA.
Right. It proves they can meet a professional credentialing standard. They bank a win, they build test-taking stamina, and that confidence is a massive asset later.
Okay, but if this is a diagnostic test, the results are only useful if the ABA is actually testing the same muscles as the CPA, right?
Exactly.
So if I ace the ABA, I have to assume I'm pretty much set for the CPA core sections.
Well, not quite. What's fascinating here is the overlap is significant, but you really have to understand the difference in depth.
Okay, break that down for me.
The CPA evolution examination is broken down into core and discipline sections. Let's look at FAR, which is financial accounting and reporting.
Oh man, the section that makes accounting students wake up in a cold sweat.
The very one.
Yeah.
So the ABA exam has a robust section covering financial accounting. Taking this gives a student a very strong foundational baseline for FAR. But Dr. Johnson's proposal is careful to highlight that FAR operates at a much higher level of technical complexity. Strong ABA performance tells you your structural framing is good.
Right, but you still need dedicated CPA study to build the rest of the house.
Precisely. It's an indicator of potential, not a free pass.
What about the other core areas, like taxation?
The next major overlap is with RG, taxation, and regulation. The ABA tests taxation, business law, and ethics, which directly translates to RG readiness.
So if you bomb the ABA tax section, you know you need to go back to basics.
Exactly. But again, RG will throw much more complex regulatory scenarios at you than the ABA will.
And what about the new discipline sections where students specialize? Does the ABA act like a sorting hat for those?
It offers foundational continuity. The ABA's taxation components help prepare students who might lean toward the TCP discipline, tax compliance, and planning.
Oh, okay.
And the ABA's managerial and consulting competencies offer a great springboard for BR, which is business analysis and reporting.
But there have to be blind spots, right? Where does this diagnostic tool completely fail to diagnose?
The proposal highlights a vital caveat here. The ABA provides absolutely zero preparation for AUD, auditing and attestation, and ISC, information systems and controls.
Wait, really? Why not? Isn't accounting just accounting?
That is a very common misconception. The ABA focuses heavily on computational math and the structural rules of business.
How to build the financial house, like you said earlier.
Right. But auditing requires a completely different cognitive skill set. It's not about doing the math. It's an investigative, almost forensic process to see if the math is legally compliant and truthful.
Oh, I see.
And information systems is similar. It's about IT architecture and cybersecurity. The ABA just doesn't test those investigative or technological muscles.
So using ABA scores to predict your CPA discipline is dangerous. It's like assuming someone will be a great marathon runner just because they did really well in a 100-meter dash.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that the broader objective is simply to give evidence of intermediate competency.
Right.
It's not meant to pigeonhole a 20-year-old into a lifelong career specialization based on one junior year diagnostic test.
All right, so let's shift gears to the real world. Passing this test is only half the battle. To actually get the ABA credential, students need professional experience.
Right. To officially earn it, candidates must fulfill requirements set by ACAN, the Accreditation Council for Accountancy and Taxation.
Okay, and what does that entail?
They mandate 1 full year of qualifying professional accounting experience.
1 year?
Yes.
How on earth is a full-time undergrad supposed to squeeze in a year of professional accounting work between midterms and final papers?
It is a significant commitment, but ACAT structured this with a lot of flexibility. The experience can be completed before or after passing the ABA exam.
Oh, that helps a lot.
And you have a generous 3-year window to finish it. Plus, it doesn't have to be a traditional paid 40-hour corporate job. Unpaid volunteer work, service learning, or part-time internships all count. Which
brings us to what I think is the most fascinating part of this blueprint, the VITA program. Volunteer Income Tax Assistance.
VITA is remarkable. It's an IRS-certified initiative where volunteers prepare federal tax returns for members of the public who can't afford professional prep.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. We are talking about 20-year-old college juniors handling sensitive financial data, W-2s, actual federal tax liabilities.
Yeah.
How does a college convince its legal department to sign off on that? Isn't the liability risk astronomical if a student messes up someone's taxes?
The liability question is usually the first roadblock any administration raises. But the VITA ecosystem is specifically designed to mitigate that risk. It's not just a kid in the library hitting submit on a stranger's return.
Right, there are protocols.
Exactly. Every student completes mandatory IRS certification training first. But the real safeguard is the structural firewall, the site coordinator.
So there's an adult in the room.
More than just an adult. Every single number a student enters goes to a certified site coordinator or a designated quality reviewer.
Oh, I see.
They review the intake forms, the source documents, and the digital return line by line before it ever goes to the IRS.
Okay, that makes infinitely more sense. The student gets the hands-on experience of client interaction, but the compliance burden rests on the certified reviewer.
Exactly. However, the proposal is very clear that institutions must run the entire program through their legal and risk management offices first to define liability boundaries.
Sure, to ensure complete compliance. And the secondary benefit here, beyond just the requirements, is the massive boost this gives to a student's resume, right?
Oh, absolutely. Local employers are desperate for students with actual hands-on experience.
Right. If you're a local firm looking for interns and you see a student who has actually communicated complex concepts to a real client and filed a return under IRS protocols.
That student instantly goes to the top of the pile. And ACED is very strict about documentation, which forces students to treat this seriously.
Yeah, they have to log their hours, duties, supervisor info.
Exactly. And even if a specific volunteer stint falls short of the one-year requirement, they're still building real-world soft skills that textbooks just cannot teach.
And Vita isn't the only way to get these hours. The proposal mentions building partnerships with small accounting practices or corporate finance departments.
Right, students who aren't into tax prep could do bookkeeping, bank reconciliations, or internal control documentation. Local firms get enthusiastic, tested talent, and students get meaningful experience.
Okay, so let's zoom out. We understand the student journey. But if a faculty member is listening and says, yes, I want this at my university, how do they actually implement it?
Well, attempting a mandatory university-wide rollout would be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, you can't just force every accounting major to suddenly take a board exam.
Right. Dr. Johnson's proposal is designed to integrate into the existing ecosystem. The first concrete step is to launch voluntary pilot cohorts.
I love the pilot approach. It's exactly like a tech beta test. You don't overhaul your whole operating system on day one.
No, you don't.
You roll it out to a small group of voluntary super users to gather empirical data on whether it actually works, rather than just assuming your theory is flawless.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the humility of this proposal is what makes it so actionable. It is explicitly a pilot, not a promise.
Right.
Faculty don't need to redesign their curriculum. They just identify students already taking intermediate accounting who want to challenge themselves. It remains an opt-in enrichment opportunity.
And when you structure it that way, you see how it benefits everyone. Like the faculty get actual evidence-based diagnostic data.
The data loop is invaluable. If a pilot cohort spectacularly fails the taxation portion of the ABA, faculty instantly know they have a structural flaw in their curriculum.
They can fix it before those kids hit the CPA. And employers get access to a pipeline of motivated, tested talent.
Exactly. It builds long-term relationships between academic programs and industry partners, and ASAT expands the impact of their credential. Everyone wins.
But a beta test is only as good as its data. What are the key metrics for measuring if this pilot is actually successful?
You track hard data over 2 to 3 cohorts. Initially, you look at ABA pass rates by specific content areas.
Right, to find the gaps.
But the true measure is broader outcomes. Does this increase retention in the challenging accounting major? Does it lead to higher internship placements?
I would argue the holy grail metric is the ultimate finish line. Does this staircase model actually get them to CPA licensure faster and with less burnout than the traditional cliff model?
That is the ultimate question. But Dr. Johnson notes, even if it doesn't drastically speed up the chronological time to licensure, the diagnostic value alone might make it worthwhile.
Because early identification of knowledge gaps saves money and reduces the trauma of failing CPA sections over and over.
Exactly. It builds a foundation of professional confidence that pays dividends their entire career.
It changes the narrative from, I hope I'm good enough, to, I know exactly where I stand.
Yes. Handing a student a diagnostic map is a massive, tangible gift.
It transforms the transition from an act of blind faith into a structured progression. So what does this all mean for you, the learner listening right now? I want you to think about your own profession. Is there a missing bridge in your industry? A terrifying gap between classroom theory and the professional standard you're expected to meet on day one?
This blueprint raises a question that extends far beyond accounting. If early diagnostic credentialing successfully identifies knowledge gaps and builds confidence, could this exact bridge model be the solution to burnout in other rigorous professional exams? Imagine applying this to the bar exam for lawyers or medical board certifications.
Oh, wow, that's a wild thought.
If we stop throwing graduates directly into the Formula One race and give them a structured test track to find their limits safely, how much healthier would all our professions become?
A structured test track before the main event. It just makes too much sense not to try. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you on the next one.